Welcome back to the Squarespace Entrepreneur Podcast. Today I'm here with the other side of Nerdville, Dreyah Bohlen, and we're going to talk about the 99 Designs Marketplace because Dreyah's had a lot of success with that, and she has advised other designers and they've taught some trainings on this. So I thought it would be great to have her on the show to share her experience with us. It's been like a while since I never even made it into that 99 Designs Marketplace, right? Like I'm like like from an old era where there was just a little directory. But I do remember that directory being like a very strategic part of my business and the my initial growth, like my first clients came via that. And so I do know how like impactful that can be in someone's business, especially when you position yourself correctly. And I don't know all of the parameters now. I'm sure you'll help us with that in a moment. But, I remember I just had like a little description, 150 word description, and my like minimum budget and like hourly rate. And I remember when I figured out that if I worded that description correctly, like I would get way more people would hit me up. And so I'm sure obviously similar principles probably apply. But before we get into that, like what would you say, Dre, is like the biggest misconception that people might have about joining the marketplace to begin with?
Yeah, so we've talked to a lot of different designers, and there's a couple big ones that I think a lot of people misunderstand with 99 Design. So first is the fees. So a lot of people are kind of scared just because those fees are scary and daunting at first. Because when I got into the marketplace, they put me in as entry level, which most everybody comes in at entry level. So then they take the client design fee and then also like a percentage of the project. So that was a little bit scary. And I think that's one of the big misconceptions about it. And then the other thing is like the customer quality. So the quality of these projects that are coming through too. I think those are probably the two most talked about ones for sure. So with that design fee, what I looked like from my perspective, I'm like, okay, yeah, they do take a fee and they do take the percentage, but I'm not having to go out and market myself and spend that money on ads and flyers and all of that stuff. So really it kind of evens out, I feel like. So
yeah. So if you thought about it as like, all right, if I have a marketing budget, right? Like let's say I'd allocate 30% to my marketing budget. I don't know what the percentage is, but if it falls within that, I can kind of just equate that to my marketing.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I did when I was first starting out in marketplace. All of the money I would have been spending on boosting my Instagram page or my Instagram posts, my Facebook posts, my pages. It kind of evened out. And it was nice to have it all right there in one platform. So
yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Unless, of course, like you have no intention of spending any money on marketing, which I think a lot of freelancers might start out or stay in that perspective because it seems like it is kind of scary to like spend money to make money.
Yeah. It's terrifying. Especially when you're just starting out and you don't have it.
Yeah, of course. It is that chicken and the egg. But yeah, that's funny. I got to think about that some more after the show. All right. So there's the fee that they take. All right. Someone has to get, like that has to happen. And then there's the quality of the client concern. How do you mitigate that? Because obviously, like I've been a part of freelance marketplaces, and there's always like a bell curve kind of thing where there'll be a few quote unquote high end clients who come through there. And then there'll be maybe like the bigger bulk of the curve might be just like the mid range. And then, or I don't know how the curve might go. Maybe it might like be like just a straight downward slope.
Yeah, we don't, it's hit and miss.
Yeah. So like how do you work with that? Like how do you mitigate? How do you make sure that the right people are reaching out to you?
Yeah, so I think we kind of have it down. I was lucky enough to learn from Jen, who kind of figured out the algorithm in there early
Mm-hmm.
on. So what we have done is we've created scripts. So we've
Okay.
created scripts for SEO projects, full website design projects, coaching calls, all of that, all of those different types of things. And then we kind of plug that in just to filter out the people that, aren't necessarily looking for what they say they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so those have been extremely helpful. And then I also do discovery calls. So if somebody is kind of vague on what they're looking for, you can hop on a discovery call with someone and kind of get a good sense of who you're going to be working with off that. So
Right.
that's another way I kind of filter through those people that come through too. And then I would say the other thing that 99 Designs has done with Squarespace's help with that marketplace is the questions that they've recently started asking and just kind of the qualifications when they submit their project. It's a
Okay.
lot more in depth than it used to be.
Right.
So they
Okay.
get a lot more like, what are you looking for? What are your inspiration sites? What's your budget? What's like
Right.
all this information that
So
can
you're
kind of
getting a
help.
good brief like straight out the gate
Mhm.
to kind of
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and it's a pretty in-depth brief, actually. And I
Yeah.
know, like talking with Jen and some other designers, before it was pretty vague. Like,
Yeah.
what's the name and your brief, and
Well,
then
actually, once upon a time, I was a part of. There's like a time period. I forget when, where like there was like a manual handoff process right before they started the marketplace, and I liked that. It was like I had my person who like they got to know what I liked, or the
Mhm.
projects that I was like excited about, and they could feed me those, and it was kind of good. So I imagine automating that experience has been what they've been trying to do is kind of like just make that better and better. So uh,
Yeah.
that's really good to know. Um, I think the scripts thing that you mentioned, that's really interesting to me. So like, are you saying that when someone reaches out with, let's say, a SEO kind of a project, you already have a response ready to kind of like qualify them? Is that what you're saying?
Yep. So we've created just a generic SEO response, kind of explaining what we do, and goes into a little bit of, or goes into depth a little bit more about SEO itself.
Hmm.
And so that way they can get a feel for how we work and then what they're getting. So,
Right.
and that like includes the price for the SEO package and all of that good stuff. But of course we customize it to fit them just a little bit, just
Right.
because, when we're getting X amount of invites a day, it can get time consuming having to personally respond to all these people. So
Hmm.
with that script, I'll usually plug in their name and then go in and take a look at their site and say, yeah, I think these SEO tactics would be great for your website. So here's a little bit more about it, and then just put in that script. So yeah, they're pretty basic and generic, just kind of highlighting the key features of what they'll get. And
Yeah.
a lot of people actually, a lot of clients, when they respond, they say, you had one of the most like personable responses. So
Uh-huh.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's just, I'm like, okay, swapping your name out, like adding
That
a
is,
little touch here.
yeah, no, that's great. That's the best thing.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show like if you're able to do it really good one-on-one, then it kind of has to scale. People don't realize like how not of an individual you are when you have a problem. Like there's tons of people out there with the same problem. We just
Yeah.
don't like broadcast it. So it's just like these like silent quests to get our problems solved.
Yes.
Um, so how do you get clients to like come back and leave a review? Like, is that a part of the chain? Like, what is the flow, to like kind of optimize this thing to get the best bang for your marketplace book?
Yeah. So usually, how it works, and 99 Designs has done a great job of kind of automating all of this for us.
Oh, wow.
So basically, when somebody invites us to a project, I believe they go through and they can pick up to 5 different designers to meet with or to
Hmm.
contact for their project. And then depending on who they choose from there. So they invite you, you respond, and then if they want to work with you, they respond back, you submit the quote, go through the entire project. And then once it's done, you can actually upload like your final designs in there into your portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do that all within there. And then 99 Designs prompts them after they close out the project to leave you a review.
Okay.
So that is pretty hit or miss depending on the client.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the clients, I've just learned to be super personable. And another thing, I've been trying not to be scared of asking for reviews. Like, hey, could you go leave me a review? And they usually will. So, because right when they close it out, 99 Design says, hey, will you please leave a review for this project? So
yeah. If you give them a heads up that that's going to happen, then it's almost like you're doing them a favor. Like, hey, look out for this. And then when it happens, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this now because I was expecting it. I gotta implement that a little bit because my reviews are hit and miss. But well, anyway, who cares? So all right, cool. That sounds good. So like I don't know why I feel excited as if I'm gonna join the marketplace now.
So many new things.
But if I wasn't, then I think I'd be excited now knowing what I just learned. What else could you like, what other like kind of little tip would you give to somebody started?
Yeah. So one of the big things that I always hear from clients who I end up working with is they're like, your profile was you. Like right off the bat, I knew who I was working with by going. So we have our picture as our profile picture. So it's a picture of me. And then obviously my bio, it goes into a little bit of depth into who I am, but also I sometimes take them back to my website. So they're like, I knew you were legit because your profile, your website, it all matched. It was cohesive. But yeah, I think just adding in, our faces in that profile picture gives them a more comforting feel, I guess. When they go into it. 99 Designs is like, you don't have to put that. That's not like our policy, but that's just some success that we've gotten by doing that. But yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest one. And then, and then our portfolio. I always get comments on that. They're like, your portfolio was so diverse. Like the amount of, it wasn't just, strictly accounting websites, or it wasn't just strictly new website builds. We actually go into quite a bit of depth in those descriptions when we upload the final product. And using the right tags in there too, because 99 Designs picks up on that algorithm and then starts to send you more projects of that type.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, we were being super in depth with the portfolio descriptions, like in there. And then my little icon, it's a little GIF of the website scrolling through it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have said they really liked that because they're able to kind of see the entire website in a glimpse.
Got it. And I'm gonna give a tip too. And it's speed. The most responsive person who checks all the boxes, then I don't need to respond to anyone else. Right. So like if you're the first one to like respond and like it's good, then like I'm not gonna like wait around for like the fifth person to respond.
Right.
So speed is the thing here. Get them while like they're ready to work, while they're in the mood of like talking about it or whatever, because sometimes if you go through like a long lead process and then like you go do something else or like you're trying to move on with your life and then now you have to be reminded of this problem, like, oh, now I got to go back and figure out how to hire someone. Make it easy for them. So the whole thing is make it easy for your prospects to like say yes to you. Yeah. So, and when they do say yes, take note of every reason that they said yes, right? Like they keep commenting on the profile or this, that, and the third, like be like, okay, cool. Enhance that, make it even more personable based off of what they've said. And you're on your way to Nerdville.
Nerdville status.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Dre, thank you. This has been awesome. I'm really excited about this. Uh, Anything else you want to share with the audience? Do you guys have any like let's say I want to get some like personal coaching and like, all right, can you help me with my scripts? Can you help me can you just look at my profile and tell me if it's good? Like, is that something that you offer?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All
Yes,
right.
just reach out to me. Go into my website. That contact form. I think I have a little thing that you can click on if they want to chat about 99 Design. So
All
go in
right.
and reach out, and I can totally set something up. And I'd love to talk. And I always love making new friends.
She's not kidding. So go ahead and do that. And thanks again, Jerry. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.